updates, additions and disappointments. Stay tuned and all will be revealed. Well, good afternoon everyone and welcome to Piccadilly East Way. Now you can see I've gone ahead and done a bit more to this particular scene. So now both sets of steps and the wall have now been weathered up all the way up to there. I've modified the wall down there so it actually fits properly. I will be doing this bit of the wall, but I'll get the river in first and then I can adapt it to that height of the water. I've got railings in now which are filament printed, and also you will probably realise there is the viewing platform as well. Now I am genuinely quite surprised how amazing that has come out. It was, when I first saw it, I thought there's no way that that is going to print, but it did. And even down to this railing across the front here, absolutely, I'm just marveling at the printer for that, to be honest. It's done an amazing job. And also this archway. And if I take you around the other side, if you are actually to see the real thing, you'll notice there it says Mayflower 1620. And yeah, that did take a couple of hours to design that, but I think at the end of the day, these things are worth it, aren't they? And just gives more of a feast for the eyes. That's the way I'm looking at it. But so that area is pretty much done. I've also gone ahead and put a skin on the top there. It was very bitty and it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. So I put a piece of 1mm card over there, which does tend to line things up so much better. Now, if I take this off, you will be able to see that how this now slides. If I bring that back, there we go, like so, and gives access. But what I've also decided to do was to put hinges on this part here, so that lifts up there so I can get real good access into the traverser should I need it and when I need it. But that means then that the platform will run literally along the edge of those hinges there, and I can make those pretty much disappear. I can put some bracing across there, or some lining across there, and those hinges will just, you know, become insignificant. So I'm really pleased with the way that has worked out. As I said, you can see that just closes up nicely there, and that just fits back onto there as easy as that. So very easy. Now you'll probably realize there's something not happened, and that is the resin pour. I'm a bit sad to say, really, to be honest. It's going to have to be slightly delayed, and that's due to the temperature, and a constant temperature. I mean, although we've had some warm days in the holiday, this particular resin says it's got to be plus 20 degrees, and it's got to can take up to 48 hours to cure. So although we've had a couple of hot days, I don't think it's been hot enough to do the resin. Some of you may come back to me and say, well, you should have just done it anyway, but I know I've done this twice before now, and so I'm a little bit more used to the resin. I don't want to muck this up, because this is by far the biggest resin pour that I will have ever done, and you're looking, well, probably 3 to 4 feet from over there. I'd say it's just over a metre, and I mean, you can see it's probably about 6 to 8 inches wide at the widest point here, which would be, you know, across here, that type of place. And you know, so I don't want to get this wrong. So to delay it another few weeks until the half-term holiday in May, or maybe even a hot weekend on the run up to that, would be a good time to do it. I don't want to get it wrong, and I'm sure you can appreciate that. Now let's have a look at some of the new additions and some of the changes that have taken place. First up is this very iconic locomotive which I couldn't miss. And when Hornby brought this out, I just thought, I've got to have one of those. I've got to. Now, if you missed out on this first run, there are two versions of this. This one is the original version, as was in the 1950s, 1960s. And if the current version has got this bar here as silver, and I believe I might be right in saying that of the 10th of April, where I'm filming this now, I think Rouse of Sheffield have just got the second batch in stock, along with other model shops will follow very, very soon, I am sure. Now, I'm not going to do a review of this because the World and his wife have done a review of this. Let's turn that engine off, shall we? Because it is quite loud, isn't it? And turn that one off as well. There we go. Yeah, we can hear ourselves think now. Now, there are a couple of things which I absolutely adore about this locomotive, and that is the spinning fans. Now, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to show you those. I just think, yeah, no, they're not. Yes, they are turning. It's on automatic mode at the moment, so they're just turning a little bit, and as the locomotive gets moving, they start turning at all sorts of speeds, and I just love that. And I'll be honest, I know a lot of people think it's a bit of a gimmick, but when we view our layout, we view it from top down, and I just love to see those fans moving, and you know, I just wish we can have more like that. That's me, I'm afraid. But anyway, the other thing I want to point out is the fact that this particular locomotive, let me turn those fans off because it's those making the noise. It does have a Mars light just here. Now, when you get it out the box, it is set to a flashing light, which is a slow flash. Now, I must admit, I didn't like that. I do like the idea of the light being there, although in the original locomotive it didn't have a light. It had the housing for the light, but whether there was actually a bulb fitted in there, I don't know. But it certainly didn't operate with one. But as it is, I quite like the idea of just having a standard on. I looked in the instructions. I had to download them from the Hornby HM7000 site, and there are all the sound profiles listed there, and you can go into the CVs and all sorts. But this is CV129, and the Mars light is currently set to 2. Now, if you set it to 0, you can have a constant light, as I've got here. As I've said, I'm not going to do a review on this particular model, but I do want to say I think this is amongst Hornby's absolute best. The number of functions it's got is incredible, particularly the lighting functions, and also the amount of finesse and separately fitted parts that it's got is simply incredible. When you look at it, it's a real feast for the eyes. Everywhere you look on this model, there is something exciting to look at, something interesting to look at, and I think they really, really have done an absolutely fantastic job. Let's move on to the next thing. Right, next up then, you can guess it's the 37, can't you? And this is a familiar face. Yes, I know Caroline's flashing a little bit, it's obviously dirty contacts. Now, you might say to me, we haven't seen this locomotive before. Well, you have, because I've resprayed it. This was 37430 when I bought it about 3 years ago. Came as a sound-fitted deluxe model. And obviously it's got these spinning roof fans. And as I've said before, I love all that sort of stuff, to be honest, because I love to look down on the top of the locomotives as they're going past. But I renumbered it because the 430 was scrapped basically. So I renumbered it as 418 because that was pulling Caroline. And so it was about a couple of years ago. This was repainted into this lorem livery, and I'll be honest, I was repulsed by it because I think white suits some trains, like the Azuma, for example, but a 37, it didn't appeal to me. But I kept looking at it, and I thought, I'm just going to do it. So I've resprayed it. Now, I've had to make all the decals myself. Most of it's water slide transfers, but I have had a lot of problems with that particular decal just there. When I first did it as a water slide, the white didn't come up very bright at all. So I put another one over the top, and then you could see the lump. So I thought that's not going to work. So my next option was to make it as a vinyl. And I've put it so that it goes all the way down the side of there, up, and it's one big rectangle going in between all the vents. And that way it's kind of worked, and I've just had to sort of blend it in. It's not perfect by any means, and you probably would be able to pick holes in it, but at the end of the day, I like it, and it's my layout, to be honest, and you would say the same thing if it was your layout. So I quite like it the way it's turned out, to be honest with you. But the other part of this story was the fact that before I'd repainted it, the locomotive failed. I wouldn't say dramatically, but one day it worked and the next day it didn't. And basically the decoder had literally died. So I was looking for a converter to turn it into 21 pin and then just maybe put HM7000 in it. But I'm talking to YouTubes, and you know I've had quite a lot of decoders from them in the past. They said to me, send us a picture of the decoder and we'll take it from there. And it turned out it was a Zemo Plux 22 decoder that Bachmann had used in it. And they just send it back to us and you can have a brand new decoder with the latest sound file for 30 quid. And I thought, I can't knock it. So I just jumped at it. But the best thing about it is well, you can hear the engine going, can't you? If I shut up. A little bit of clag, shall we say. And then even a little bit of hunting. Now the Accurascale 37 does that, and this one does do it a little bit automatic, but I've got an icon that I can press. But you listen to these horns. That just sounds absolutely fantastic. And I'm not going to go through them all, but you know, and the roof, the fan spins on the top. It's got so many different lighting functions, as you know. So anyway, let's move that one on, ready for the next one. So as the 37 disappears with the disco going on inside Caroline, I will sort it sometime. Right, next up is the Flirt. Now, you have seen this before. I'm not going to lie, but it's been in storage for the last, I don't know, 2 months, maybe 3 months even. But it's now got some decoders in it, HM7000 decoders, and as you will hear, it has now got sound as well. I'll just turn on the microphone so you can hear that as it goes past. Even a little blast of the horn. There you go. What's next? Now this I've been waiting for a long time. And yes, I did say I was going to get one. And I actually got the Darlington one. Now, if you remember back to Christmas, you might remember that I bought the Railroad LNER Azuma, and it came with one powered bogie just there, and that one was free, if you like. And it really struggled. It wouldn't go up and down the inclines purely because there were traction tyres on it, and it made such a fuss. The traction tyres kept coming off, it kept derailing, as you know. So that was the reason for sending it back, and you know, all the rest of it. Now, interestingly, you get a spare set of wheels in this pack. And at first, I didn't really think an awful lot about it. I just thought, oh, they've given us another set of wheels. I didn't think about it that much. But yet, when I looked at the instruction manual, it says that these have got traction tyres on. See those? One here and one on that one. Yeah, it will focus. It did just a second ago. Hopefully you can make those out now. So the bottom one's on the left and the top one's by my thumb on the right. Okay. And they say for helping the train going up and down inclines. Now, I know that from the Lumo train down below, i.e. down there, that this train shouldn't have any issues as a 5-car unit going up and down my incline, which is just there. It's just 2% all the way round. Now, a lot of these trains now do tend to run in 9-car formations. Now, looking at the issues that Richard Watson's had from New Junction, he had an awful time getting his to run on the flat and pulling 7 extra coaches plus the 2 ends, if you like. And he had to put in an awful lot of weight into the main driving unit. Now, I don't really want to do all that if I can get away with it. I don't mind oiling the wheels, but I really don't want to be adding huge amounts of weight. So if I do go for a longer train, it certainly won't be a 9-car. I can't accommodate it anyway. The Traverser will certainly accommodate 1 easily, and potentially with a little bit of jiggery pokery, 2 extra coaches, which would turn this, if it worked, into a 7-car unit. But I'm not going to go out and buy another pack of coaches just to find out they're not going to go up the incline. So I thought, I wonder, are those Azuma coaches the same? And they are exactly the same as these ones. Now, I always thought that the LNER ones were ever so slightly longer. I read it somewhere that they were a tiny bit longer, but it doesn't appear so on the model. So at some point in the future, it would be nice to take a couple of those Lumo coaches, put it in, and see if I can get this train to make the incline. And if it does, I will go and buy another pack of 4 coaches, and then when I get the next LNER Azuma, I can just pop those in and all should be hunky and dory. Anyway, what's next? Surely there can't be anything else. Well, there is one more thing. Now, for those of you who think I've completely abandoned the N-Gauge, think again. This was an impulse buy, I'm not going to lie. But I saw this in my local model shop when I actually went to get the Azuma, to be honest. And this is a Class 66 in GBRF C-Max livery. So there we go. Now, this, as I said, was an impulse buy, and I was selling this. Are you ready for this? You might want to have a sit down. £40. I'm not lying, £40. Now, they're around about the £100 new, and he did have an exact same one as this, brand new, and I think they were selling it for 104. But there is two things that are not correct. The first thing, you might have realised, it's come in bubble wrap, so no, it doesn't have a box. And secondly, the lights at one end don't work, which is perfect for me because I'd want to turn them off anyway. So that is what I'm thinking. Now, the only problem with this is that because it's a dapole, they are renowned for being quite weak and don't tend to want to pull full-length trains. Now, there are two. When I was in the shop, I thought I'm going to have a quick look at the type of train it pulls. And there are two types of train that I saw instantly. One was the cement wagons, the silver bullets, which I rusted up in a few years ago, if you remember those. They're terrible runners, I must say. They derail at every moment. And the other one is the box wagons. They're a bit like the J&As, but they're just boxes. Now, mine are a European version, but to be honest, nobody cares. So if I can get it to pull one of those two trains, we are happy. Now, I'm not going to have it running in this particular video. One, because it's only got a DC blanking paint in there at the moment, and I don't have a Next 18 decoder. Now, I know it's Next 18 because the chap took the lid off for me and we had a look. We both thought it would be a 6-pin, but actually no, it's a Next 18. So look forward to that one in the future. I am going to be switching back soon. There are some things I do want to do on the N-gauge layout, and I will come back to this again later in the year. I think we'll see how things go, but I do want to finish the area by that viaduct, and there's one building which I've just started. Shall I show you, or shall I leave it now? I'll give you a sneaky peek. Can you see that in the distance over there? I wonder what that's going to be. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave the video there with that little bombshell, and I will catch you again very, very soon here on Piccadilly Eastway and on Piccadilly as well. Take care. I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.